Thank you very much, Riv. What's up, guys? Want to welcome Zion, Spartan, and Crumbs to the desk, guys. Victorious once again. So you came into that match facing Evil Geniuses, who just took down Cloud9. You guys just came off of a loss. Was there any intimidation coming in that this team's going to be really fearsome?
We weren't really intimidated, but we realized that they were a team that you wouldn't want to let your guard down against. I mean, you don't want to let your guard down against any team in the LCS. Complexity beat Cloud9 and Curse. Like, all these teams can take games off the better teams, and I think it's really which team shows up more to play, and we tried to play to make the least amount of mistakes possible.
So what goes into it when you say we're trying to play the best possible? Like, how do you psych yourselves up to make sure you're playing properly?
I mean, it's just a lot of constant reminders about the strategy that we want to do, like constant updates. Okay, I'm strong right now. This guy has no flash. It's all about reminding each other about the timing windows that we have when we're strong, when they're strong, when the buffs are coming, objectives, just constant reminders like these, and just really remembering the plan that we have with this specific team comp against theirs and how it's going to play out. So as long as we all have played this game a lot, so if we all just remember, oh yeah, this is how we're supposed to play against this team, and we execute it properly, because we were talking about it the entire game, it should go well, and I think it went pretty well.
So how much of that is like every individual member like feeding information in and someone makes the call, and how much of that is like everyone knows that at 7 minutes we're going to go play for their blue buff?
I mean, on objectives like that, everyone knows. Everyone should know that this is going to happen at this moment, right? You got 2 minutes to prepare. We need wards. We need to be here. You need to chunk someone out. You need to blow some summoners. Make sure that we contest this blue buff. Things like that, right? Dragon's coming up in this time. You need to back off. You need to do your shop. All sorts of things. So big objectives, everyone's in on them. Little tiny things in lane. Honestly, most people are still in on it. So I think that's how a game should be played anyways.
So actually, you talk about little things in lane. Zion, you pretty much crushed Inox once you guys got in the lane. You had a giant minion lead over him. You're bullying him out of the lane. How much of that is obviously you're an amazing player, but like you're like the big Jax guy, right? Like when you think of Jax, you kind of think of you first. For the top laners here, how much of that is like I know that champion? Like, do you like know the ways in to beat that champion up in lane?
I understand Jax very well, but what happened that game was we just controlled the minion wave better than EG did, and Inox got denied very hard. And I think me and Crumbs work really well together on how we like to play the top lane out, and I feel like Snoop and Inox kind of have a similar idea where they kind of gank top a little bit, but I don't think they have the kind of setup we do. And when I had the minion wave in the right place, it was really easy to just keep getting farther and farther ahead of him. And Shyvana's just really good at rotating around and taking all that farm. And you saw me at the end of the game. I was like level 16 when the next highest level was 14.
Yeah, you were massive. Would you actually be willing to share like what that top lane plan is, or is that a trade secret?
Can't share everything, otherwise every team would be first place, you know?
That's true.
It's these little secrets that make us
talking about.
That's completely fine. Well, speaking of every team being first place, you guys are actually tying for first right now with LMQ. I know, Crumbs, you're hyper confident all the time. Your eyes are always set on Worlds. Scar yesterday said you guys take every single game at a time, but at the start of the season, were you expecting to be first place 3 weeks in?
Not really. I mean, I'm just expecting us to perform well. I'm more than just the actual result. I'm happy that we're able to perform games that are very clean. Like, even though we had like the game against CLG that was really shaky, like we have some games that are really convincing wins, that the plan is acted out properly. And sure, obviously you can always improve on games, but just knowing that we can play at that level is a testament to how far we'll go.
Okay, well, I want to press you on that CLG game in a little bit, but let's go back to the game we just played. We have a replay. If we can pull that one up here. I believe it's the Baron fight, if I remember properly. So, Dig and Toss, you guys have done very well with Baron so far this split. Walk me through setting this one up.
Well, right off the bat, me and Zion are just hidden right now, tanking Baron. We're like, okay, we need somebody to help us out. Shifter's just lurking in there. We got 4 pink wards in this area, so they have no idea what's going on. Initially, we had blown a lot of summoners from them, trying to chunk them out so that they can't contest. That was mostly just using our pink wards so that Shifter could hide, and then as soon as they funnel in, Syndra just pops them, and we get a free Baron.
And 4 pink wards, I got to say, that makes it not free. That makes it a 400 gold Baron, just for what it's worth. I mean, I love it. It's a great play. It obviously worked really well for you guys. So let's actually then redirect and talk about that CLG game. We haven't gotten to talk to you since that one. What went wrong from your opinion that made you lose that match?
Honestly, I really felt that game, I'd like to take a lot of the blame for that game, because I felt like I really wasn't performing at all. I guess I maybe have psyched myself out for it. My skill shots weren't properly. I wasn't communicating the plan that we should have gone. So I think I basically shut down in that game. Maybe some choking. So
Come on, Crumbs.
yeah, I mean,
it's a team game, man.
It's true. I didn't
lose.
No, man. I really felt like if I had made that difference, we probably would have been able to win, being more decisive. But aside from that, yeah, everyone says, oh, I could have done this in a carry. And it's true, but I mean, you're asking my point of view, and I felt like I had a pretty big impact because obviously the jungler is one of the most important roles early in the game, at least.
Do you think it was more individual play based or shot calling based?
I mean, that basically falls into individual play as well.
Okay.
So everyone.
Okay, so Zion, actually wanted to ask you then about the CLG game. What do you think? Do you
I
think you were
mean,
perfect? I think you could have
What
done differently?
Crumbs said, like individually, like you can always do something better. A player who's like, I tried my hardest, there's nothing I could do. Like, I'm sorry. Like even in solo queue, players are like, I tried my hardest, it's because of these players. It's like, no, that's like, I feel like that's kind of like the solo queue mentality where it's like you blame it on individual mistakes and things like that. You can always do something better. You can always try harder. And I think a lot of our losses are basically just not having the right plan, not playing it soundly as a team, because I think we've got a lot of good individual and mechanical skill on this team, and it's just having the right plan and executing it.
I mean, to be fair, you guys are absolutely phenomenal players. That was a great game.
I'd like to touch up on that too. I think a lot of times you may have someone that's like a mechanical god, right? He makes incredible flash plays and all that, and they say, I couldn't have played better. That's not true because you can always make a better decision, right? You could have been in a better place in a better time, things like that. That's more difficult to assess and improve on, but there is always something to get better at.
Yeah, and so you guys had that Baron versus Hib trade, and I mean, that's got to be pretty difficult, right? Like, what was in your minds at that time?
I mean, it was just indecisiveness, right? Because that was a trade that took like 30 seconds to make. We could have just done the Baron immediately and probably not even lost the inhib.
Yeah.
But since we took so long to decide it, we ended up paying for it. So that's just, you learn from it, right? So you think, okay, what could we have done better? Being more decisive, being in the better place at a better time, right? Do the Baron quicker, come out ahead. So you always learn from losses like that.
Okay, so if you guys can keep putting those learnings together. I want to actually ask you guys about something that's been happening now in this season. When there's lane swaps, there's like a double jungle going on. So I've got the two Dignitas junglers here in front of me. How does this play out sort of on the grand scale? It seems like the team as a bottom lane always gets dragon at 330. Like, what are the things you look for when you're playing a 2v0?
Well, there was a time in the 2v0 where everyone would just like be ganking mid over and over again, and everyone just be like, all right, let's dive that mid laner. But that everyone's kind of realized like, okay, that's gonna happen. So all the mid laners like stay back, play safe. That gank doesn't really work that often. So all there's left is to just deny farm, and it's basically about getting the big waves that you can and denying people off waves and starving the top laner as much as possible and trying to farm as much as possible. It's just like you're the top laner, you're fighting for scraps, you're just like trying to get whatever you can, and hopefully you won't be level 1 by like 5 minutes.
What do you do then as a top laner when you've obviously been denied at the very beginning? You're a little bit behind the jungler. How do you find your way back in then? Do you find a freeze somewhere?
That TSM game.
Yeah, it's very hard to have the mentality like I'm behind. I need to play as safe as possible. Like our game against TSM, I was down 50, farming 4 levels, and I was just like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like Dyrus is like 4 levels on me. He auto attacked me once, I'm dead. So basically, it's just about like having a strong like mental fortitude.
To
just
survive.
like, all right, I'm gonna fight for every last CS I can, and it's gonna make a difference. And my team like hung in there with me, and I was able to catch back up, and we were able to win that game. And when you get those deficits, that's kind of how you play as a top lane. You start behind, and it's learning how to get those little advantages that allow you to become a really good top laner, I feel.
All right, Zion. So one final question then. Last time we had you on this desk, I believe you were hyper confident about every match you're going to play, calling them easy, saying you're going to be #1. Crumbs, have you shaken any of that confidence right now, or are you still like dig #1?
The thing is, I still trust in my teammates, right? I still believe that our teammates, my team is going to be able to perform in each game, and that's why I think that we're just going to come out ahead.
All right, well, we'll see you on your trip to Worlds then, guys. Thank you very much for your time. Congratulations on your win. Congratulations on first place as well, and we'll see you guys next week. But we've got more league action coming up today, continuing with Curse.